My guest today is Scottish-Norwegian filmmaker Iain Forbes and his Oscar-qualified short film, After Dark. Now, the film was Oscar-qualified after winning Best International Short Film at the Foyle Film Festival in 2024, cementing Forbes' reputation as one of Scandinavia's most exciting emerging directors. Now, Iain graduated from the Norwegian Film School. His short Revisited won a Student Academy Award in 2023, and his latest film, After Dark, continues his run of acclaimed shorts following Snowman and Semper Fi. Now, the award-winning short film After Dark confronts the unsettling questions that arise when empathy collides with fear, prejudice, and survival instinct. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Iain Forbes and his Oscar-qualified short film, After Dark, to the show. Welcome, Iain.
Well, thank you. Wow, what an intro you gave me there. I'm just in awe already of the voiceover feel you gave to my life. So yeah,
Well,
that was
you're
a
you're
great
ve-
start.
well, you're very welcome, and I really enjoyed this film because there is there was simplicity, but yet there was complexities within this whole film, and you really make the audience think with two main characters. So, how did you come up with this story with the focus on empathy, fear, prejudice, and survival?
Mm. Yeah, no, the film is very much based on an experience I had myself, so it's quite lived through, really. The whole film was based really on an encounter I had late one night. I was on the way home, and suddenly I was approached by this young woman. And she asked me for the way to the central station, and I could tell she was terrified. So at once, my hackles went up. What's the situation? Is she in danger? And I'm in danger. And I just tried to find out, what's happened? Can you tell me what's wrong? And the first half of the film is actually just me. I transcribed that with my writer, how I was trying to, figure out what to do. But as it went on, I started to get the feeling, oh, there's something wrong here. And through our conversation and me trying to help her, I wanted to call the police, get her a taxi. No, she didn't want any of that. And then she wanted to borrow my phone. And yeah, so a lot of that energy that's in the film, that is something I experienced. So I've just really tried to translate that incident and all the thoughts it gave me, because it really challenged my preconceptions about how far am I willing to go to help a stranger, and am I as good a person as I think I am, and who needs my help? Did she need my help or not?
Well, here's the thing, and I noticed this in the film, but at the same time, I was looking back thinking, okay, as human beings, how would we react and why? At first, we're going to jump into help mode because a stranger coming to us in that manner, we're not taking any time to process any details.
Mm.
But then as time goes by, like you show in the film, then we're able to calm down a bit and we're able to start putting certain things together. And like you show in the film, am I being told the truth? Am I being played? What's going on here? So I love the way that you take the audience through this whole thought process.
Yeah, thanks. And that's really what I wanted to delve into, because the true situation had the same ambiguity as the film also has. Because even by the end of it, when I was certain that she was in a situation that I shouldn't be involved in and she didn't really need my help, she was just, making a show of it, there was still very much a lingering doubt. Because also a thing that happens in both the real situation and the film is a call with the mother. She puts me on a phone with her mother. That happens also in the film. And the mother calls me back after I've left her. And it's less dramatic in real life, but it still kept me wondering, like, okay, yeah, this is someone's mother. And maybe she was worried after all. Maybe I misunderstood. And that's just haunted me, and I'll never find out what really happened. So that's what inspired me to, capture that ambiguity that we have when we meet strangers and we don't know everything about them, but we want to help. We want to be helpful people. But the world's complicated sometimes.
Yeah. So what I did is after I watched the film, I went back and I'm like, okay, let me play detective. Let's see where Mia is actually going here. So Mia set off a lot of red flags for me. And so I made notes. So you kind of walk me through some
Fantastic.
of these.
Yeah.
So walk me
I
through.
love it.
If she lived in the area, she would have known where the train station was, correct?
Mm. Mm.
So
Absolutely. Yes.
did you pick it up as a red flag?
Yes, but I thought at first when both in the true encounter with him, but it's more a way of searching for someone to have a contact with. It's a question that if it's innocent, it's just like I just need someone to be with me right now. But if it's not innocent, it's the start of a scam. You're getting fooled into walking alongside someone, and yeah, so absolutely, 100% a red flag. It's downtown Oslo. Of course, everyone knows where the central station is.
Yeah. Then she never answered Jonah's question as to who was coming after her, because she would at least, even if it was a stranger, she would have been at least given a detail or two as to who it was. And I thought her answer was vague.
Mm. It is very vague, and if he's actually coming, or if it's something she's made up in her head, it's certainly not something she can factually tell Christian. So he also, as you say, progresses to being like, "There's no one coming, is there?" You know.
Well, you have the camera shot, because
Mm,
when she says it, your camera shot is as if we're looking through his eyes and he's scanning the landscape. He's scanning that downtown area and he's like, okay, I don't see anybody. So he's not saying that she's lying about it. He's just being aware, maybe not necessarily for her. He's also being aware for himself.
mm. Absolutely. I mean, he's now in a situation where he feels by being involved with her, he's involved in her danger. I mean, he could also get run down by whoever this mystery man is. And from her emotions, it seems like a dangerous person. So he's terrified at the same time, both for her, but also very much for his own sake. If he's suddenly going to get, hit in the head from behind, someone's going to come rushing.
You know that whole scene. Here you are downtown. It's a really kind of like a cool little pretty area with the trees and the snow and all that. It's almost like you set up this perfect spy scenario. So it's almost
Mm,
like, you know, Jonas could almost be like Jason Bourne in a way. So I really love the look and the way that you use the camera to scan the
mm,
landscape. So I love that. Now, she was never specific about anything.
no.
And that to me was a real worrying element. But the thing is, us as humans in a situation who somebody comes to us and maybe their adrenaline is running, it can also spark us for our adrenaline to run. And when that happens, we don't have clear thought.
Mm,
So he wasn't going to figure it out just yet. But then there was another red flag. She said this person had her credit card. Now,
mm,
why would that be? Because
mm,
that's another red flag. How would he get her credit card? She wasn't even holding a purse, of course. Could have been a purse snatcher, but she didn't really get to the point as to why.
mm. Yeah, so I can tell you that this is verbatim what the girl I met told me. When I tried to persuade her to get a taxi, she said, I can't, he has my credit card. So we've worked out, in the film, we have our own backstory answer to why this is, but it is an extremely strange situation because you're suddenly hyper specific, but it also sounds like an excuse, like you're trying to wiggle your way out of a solution being presented by Christian, who's the name of the character, his by at the time when he's trying to, a taxi to safety. That's the solution. No, I can't. So, she's sticking to him, and that's also, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Is he being tricked? So yeah, very interesting thing you're picking apart. I love this.
One of the things that she did right was that
Mm,
she wouldn't say where she lived. Every woman should know you don't ever tell a stranger where you live.
mm,
So she was smart enough not to tell. So that was really a smart move on her part. But there was a question that she asked. So I want you to walk me through as to why she asked this
mm,
question. So when I I was looking at the scene and I'm like, okay. So her question to him was if he was spiritual. And I thought,
Mm.
that's kind of odd. Or maybe she was looking for someone that she could trust. But why
Mm.
was that line in the film?
Yeah. Well, again, the funny thing is that was something I was asked in the real situation, and it threw me off completely. Halfway through my encounter with this woman, that suddenly came up, and that's just a point in my real story where I started thinking, okay, this isn't a real situation. But what we wanted to do with it in the film, the idea from Mia's character is she's starting to try, as you said, is he someone I can trust? Can I make a connection with him? She's actually, because this starts her voyage to starting to ask him if she can stay the night at his place. So it's her. She thinks he's now her protector and someone who cares about her. She hasn't picked up that he's really skeptical and wants to get out. She's just okay. He's with me still. Maybe he's a good guy. Maybe he can he'll understand this aspect. So before Christian, it's another red flag, and he's so they're speaking past each other really with their intentions. Is my idea in that scene? Is yeah.
Yeah, because when she so they were in that 7-Eleven,
Mm.
and when she said, can I sleep at your place? I'm like, what is wrong with you? Now, but here I do understand one thing. There are people, and could be woman or man. I'm not going to pick on anybody specific here. There are people that are so naive
Mm.
that they would literally ask that question and thinking for themselves that it would be a safe space, not realizing that they could actually put themselves in another danger they wouldn't be able to get out of.
Mm. Yeah, because you can say whatever is the truth for Mia here, she's certainly a girl who's gotten herself in trouble or some sort of trouble, or she is trouble. So she has, she makes some choices that do often end up for her in situations that are unmanageable for her. So for me, it's also part of her character going out on a limb, but that's really where we as an audience, and I think Christian, like this is a weird situation. That's a weird thing for her to ask and to not understand that that's not okay. But and that's also where he starts to think, okay, she is having a bad trip or she's on drugs. There's something. I mean, she can't be thinking straight. And
Well,
maybe she is, maybe she is. But the whole film plays with that. Is she having a bad trip or hallucinating, or has she been through something? Or is it really just she is that naive? She is that kind of person.
well, yeah, because then, and up to the 7-Eleven point, I went back to, in a way, retrace her steps, her dialogue, and then his dialogue. And I'm thinking, okay, what if the reason why she's running from whoever, maybe she was the one that caused it? And now either she skipped out on a bill or a tab or when a taxi or an Uber stopped, she jumped out and took off running and didn't pay, and maybe the credit card she gave wasn't hers,
Mm.
and somebody got angry with her. So there's all these scenarios, and that's what I love about this film. You leave it
Mm.
open-ended, so we don't really know where she came from, what's her issue, but you place the audience in his shoes trying to figure it out once his focus comes back into view. So I
Mm.
love that whole element.
Well, thank you so much. Love your analysis here and your step-by-step detective work. Very impressive and fun,
Yeah.
man.
Now one of the things that I think it unnerved me, and I think it would unnerve anybody. So when they're standing in the 7-Eleven, he gave her money to get a hotel room. He was being nice, kind, and generous and really looking out for her well-being, but put her in a place where he's not in a difficult situation. And she turned it around and took his
Mm.
generosity as pity. I thought then the guy on the other side of the counter, he was right. She was
Mm.
crazy.
Mm. Yeah, but I mean, I agree in a way. I mean, she has such an extreme reaction to that, but so unexpected for him, and throws him really under the bus. And that's I have to say is one of the places where we diverge from the true story. It didn't go that far, fortunately for me. But I love the idea of him trying, one last thing to feel like the good person here, but her completely misreading that. And I think, as you can say, she might be a lot of trouble, and she might be a big reason why there's trouble behind her. She's not that innocent, whatever is the true story here. She doesn't make life easy for herself, that's certain. But
Well,
whether or not she's actually still in danger, or if she's still, someone who needs help, that's still slightly open-ended there.
yeah, because when I was looking at that scene, I'm like, why would she snap so fast? Unless maybe she was coming down off of a high. There's so many thoughts, of as to what's going on. And the other thing is too, if she snapped that fast, she may have been offended that he didn't really believe her whole story, and she felt it was unraveling.
Mm. Absolutely, and she might also be a character who's often patronized or talked down to, and him acting like that after, she's opening up, are you spiritual? She has a hope for connection, and then she has someone who just suddenly, oh, you see me as someone who sleeps on the streets. For her, it's a reversal, actually, where she really sees how he perceives her, and that she can't handle in that situation.
Yeah, but what? Not that it was funny, but I love the writing twist on that scene, because her outburst, I think in a way, she did it because it was going to cause public embarrassment to him.
Yeah,
because
she
there were
wanted
other
to
people in the
punish him.
7-Eleven, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that was a rotten move.
So exactly, she is trouble. She is punishing him there. She knows, I think, what she's doing there, and that's what I really liked, was the idea of him. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. He's trying to do the best thing all he can, and he somehow ends up in this really awful situation where he's being publicly shamed. And as you say, it is really a funny situation because it's so uncomfortable, and I really enjoy putting Christian in that situation at the
Well,
end there.
you put the whole audience in that situation, because we're
Yeah.
watching it and we're like, man, I want to get out of this 7-Eleven. So because she was, I looked at her as a manipulator. She played on people's sympathy and empathy, but I started to believe that she was the one that's an actual threat. Because
Yeah.
someone
No.
like that would scare me. I mean, I wouldn't want anywhere near that woman.
Yeah, no, I can let slip. There was one idea that was thrown in the writers' room very early, was that maybe she was a vampire. So we played with that for about 30 seconds, and like, no, we're not going to do that. But that just goes to show, the kind of, as the producer was like, maybe she comes back to 7-Eleven and the clerk, just there's blood going out of his throat, she's drunk in blood, to have, the real, she is a lady of the night. So we loved, just playing with ideas to how dangerous is Mia? Is she a real threat, or is she a damsel in distress?
Well, you could have really turned it around, and towards the end, it made it look like he was the one that was high, and that she never really existed.
Yeah. Where is she gone? Poof, gone up in smoke.
But I think the only thing here's what is so funny about this one element. The only thing she was honest about was that her phone was dead. But then I got to thinking, but was it really her phone? Because she used his phone to call her mother. Because if her phone wasn't dead and she had called from it, would her mother recognize the number? But in a way, it didn't matter because she used his phone.
True. Good
So
point. But there's the other thing she speaks true about as well, is that she doesn't want his money, because that she leaves at the 7-Eleven. She throws it away. It's there when he comes back. So that certainly wasn't a motive for her in that situation there. So that's the other kernel of truth she's really saying there. She wants help. She wants someone to see her in that situation, for whatever reason that is, of course. That's still mysterious. But she
Yeah.
really doesn't want alms. She doesn't want charity. She doesn't want money. She wants someone, a connection, maybe.
Yeah. Man, that's pretty profound
Mm.
because she feels like nobody sees her. So, in a way, some people may pull a stunt to be seen.
Mm.
But in the process, like in this one, she scared him.
Mm. She might be a hot mess, but what she wants is human connection, you know? And that's, I think, kind of what we went for with the character ultimately, that there was at least a layer of something honest in her, even though there's a lot she's not telling him about her current situation.
Well, I started looking at it like because what I did was when I went back the third time to trace the steps again, because I'm trying to watch her and then I'm watching
Mm.
him, and then I got to thinking, does she have a mental health issue?
Mm.
Because when she disappeared, it's like you said earlier, her mother called the number back
Mm.
and he answered like, no, I left her in the 7-Eleven.
Mm.
And but the way her mother talked, well,
Mm.
I'll be right there. It's like she never listened. So I'm
Mm.
thinking, I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree because the other girl wasn't listening either.
Absolutely, and that's great. Also, I think because it is also talking to the mother that plants a lot of insecurity in Christian initially, because having someone who's too drunk to drive, who doesn't seem concerned about the daughter at first, but yeah, you've got the same erratic trait there. So yeah, we work quite a lot on the mother-daughter backstory. There's a lot of text here, and it's very complicated as well. So it's really, yeah, Christian, who's a pretty straight-laced guy, gets wrapped up into something that's just way above his pay grade this night here in terms of complexity of character in Mia and her family and the trouble she's in and the trouble she is as a
Well,
person.
it's funny because I've seen short films that got the perfect arc. It's done. You don't need to expand on it. This one, I'm like, you kind of got the beginnings of a feature film, like, a little bit of a suspense thriller going on here, and I really like that. It's not
Yeah, that's cool.
it's not a rom-com, so,
No.
but it's like you have two people, but you could end up putting in such an incredible twist to this story to where, you start the film off like she's the crazy one, but it really ends with him being the crazy one.
Yeah, that's fun.
So
Or she's a vampire. I mean,
yeah.
we can finally put the vampire in.
Yeah, we could just make her the vampire, then have Brad
Mm.
Pitt and Tom Cruise come out because they were the
Yeah.
ones that started it all.
Oh yes, a sequel to Interview. Oh, that's fantastic. But it's funny you say that because a lot of people have been saying, like, "Oh, is this a pilot for a feature?" But we really didn't intend that at all. Me and my writer Andreas Lubke, we were very like, we want to make something. It exists in the short form because it is short form. It is the story about how Christian misses out on finding out who Mia is because he gets scared and the situation makes him uncomfortable and he'll never know. That is the story for me. That's like the whole intent. But there are many people asking, like, "Oh, when are you going to make the rest of it and the rest of the night?" I'm like, "Oh, what wasn't the point? The point is not knowing."
Well, let me ask you, because since a lot of this is a true story that happened to you,
Hmm.
did it leave you feeling like for the next few days after, like, who was that person and what was the whole thing about? I mean, because it leaves a big question mark, which in a way was the perfect way to end the film.
Yes, and absolutely the real situation as well. because I spent, of course, a bit longer than the 10 minutes the film is with her. I think it was about almost 30 minutes. We were trying to, figure out what she was to do. And there were so many complications of her wanting to go back and needing my help. And, I was getting dragged all over the place. So it was chaos. But I was really, after when I got back to my flat, I felt like, did I get off a roller coaster too soon? Because it was anticlimactic, I didn't get to find out what was really going on or what had happened. And I was like, should I have stayed with her? Could I have been a person who made a difference in this woman's life? But no, I missed that shot. I got stressed and I helped her to 7-Eleven. She charged her phone. I said, "Are you okay?" "Yes, I'm okay. Thank you. Goodbye." So it was quite peaceful, the end, really. But I still felt, you get a connection with someone so quickly when you meet someone and you talk for a few minutes, and suddenly you are invested in that person. And even though this was a chaotic situation, I was invested. Is she going to be okay? So yeah, it haunted me a bit, and that's what me and my writer picked up on, that feeling of being haunted by having missed out on the story almost.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. And since that day, you never ran into her again?
No. Maybe she'll catch wind of our Oscar campaign and finally I'll find out who she is. Maybe she'll see the film. I thought about that.
She'll be sitting in she'll be sitting in the theater going, "Oh, that's me."
Yeah. I mean, it might happen. Who knows? Some of the film's getting around, and that's quite crazy to think about. Maybe that will be how I find out what really happened.
Yeah, that would be crazy and it would be scary. So I was
Yes.
thinking, and I should say wondering, did you film this all in one night?
It was 2 nights, so it was quite quick. But the advantage of we shot it in January in Oslo, and then it's so dark. It gets dark at 4 p.m. So we could shoot, like 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. like a normal shooting day, and just do that twice. But what almost happened was the snow almost melted. So throughout the film, you see the snow disappearing slowly but surely. But luckily, we shot it almost chronologically, so it looks like it's melting in real time. But the last shots in the film, there's almost no snow, so we couldn't have had like one more day. It wouldn't be continuous at all.
Wow, so that was really the only challenge in the filming.
Not the only one. The other was that we were shooting at a 7-Eleven that was open on a Sunday evening. And if we were, trying to make a crazy situation, that was nothing compared to the real situations that happened. Like there were people coming in who were clearly high on something. One guy, he lay down on the floor and he started taking off his pants and screaming, while we were like the film crew in the corner, like, what do we do in this situation? But the 7-Eleven employee, the real one, he was just like, this was another day of the office. They must see so much crazy stuff, being a late open store. But for us, so it was a bit tricky, and the actors felt very very seen by, like, there were lots of people standing watching us film, so that was a hard part, actually.
That is so funny. So how did you cast the film?
Well, when we wrote it, me and my writer Andreas, we were quite quick to land on Simon for Christian. He was the only one we auditioned for the role. I knew him personally from before. I had colleagues who'd worked with him, and I just knew he had that energy. So we auditioned him. I'm like, yes, perfect. That's just what I want for Christian. He's like this straight up guy. He's a bit conservative, but he wants to do the good thing. But at the end, he can, retreat from it. But as you can imagine, Mia, with her more erratic behavior, was a bit of a bigger job to find the right actress. So I needed someone, who was a bit young, who was a bit innocent, but also could have that danger to them, that spark. But then was very happy with Billy Bark. I had about 10, 15 girls in, which I auditioned, and finally I felt she was just the right match.
Yeah, I think the good thing is that he got his money back.
Yeah. At least he's got the same money, but the joke is he doesn't want that money initially. He also feels, he's being looked down upon by his colleague receiving that money in a way. So that was, I think, a little in-joke for me, is that no one wants to get the money. They just want connection in a way.
Yeah, but I know that you didn't show him pick it up.
No,
but you kind of left it open. You left it open for the audience.
Yeah, because he storms out. So I think he's high on adrenaline there. So he doesn't pick it up before running out to have a look for her, definitely. But if he goes in and picks him up or not, that'll be one of the other things open to interpretation for the audience. Would you leave that money there?
Well, the clerk in the 7-Eleven, he even handed her phone, and
Mm.
he's like, "I don't want that phone."
Yeah, exactly. Fun fact: that's our writer there, Andreas Lubke. He wrote that part for himself, the 7-Eleven clerk.
That is awesome. So this film has been seen everywhere. So what's been the audience's reaction to it?
Yeah, great question. I think lots of great feedback, but the ending is controversial, I can feel. I've seen that, like, because some are so frustrated that they're being that the information's being withheld, so it makes them almost angry at the end. But it stopped there. So that's a bit funny because that's like, I'm like, that's the point. He doesn't get to know. But people and the awards we've won and the jury statements, people seem to appreciate that ambiguity a lot, and that there's no easy answers. That seems to be what people really like about the short, and that I'm really proud of, because that was the main goal, was to make a film where you're constantly second guessing your assessment of the situation and the characters until the end, and then hopefully after the credits, or like you go back and you watch it again, like, was she good, was she not good, you know?
Yeah, because I thought it ended perfectly. Because
Thank
I
you.
love when a film, if the storyline is right, I love the way a
Mm,
film will end, because I think one of the greatest things for film festivals is for the audience to leave wondering and still talking about it. Because there are perfect films out there. They end, you're like, ah, yeah, I feel great, or you feel horrible, or you're laughing or crying. But there are certain stories that have to be open ended and allow the audience to maybe finish the story.
mm,
And that's what I loved about this one. So when it ended the way it did, I was like, yep, he's not going to know. And it was so funny
mm,
because you have that ending shot of him walking down the sidewalk, cameras to his back. And in a way, I'm thinking he's walking, but what he's doing is he's kind of internally looking left and right, because he's still wondering, where did she
mm,
go? Like,
mm,
is she going to jump out of the alley and attack me before I get home? So I
mm,
love the mystery at the end.
mm. Yeah, that's great. And that's also what I want with those last shots of the city. We're just, peering around in the dark and gloom. Is there any sight of her? Is she here somewhere? Is that figure in the distance? Is that her? And that's kind of the fade out of the film, is like, where did she go? What did she end up? Yeah.
Well, how does it feel to be Oscar qualified?
Well, it's such an honor. It's great fun. Also exhausting, trying to, get the campaign going, and it's terrifying because, it's still a long shot to get to the shortlist. But I'm very grateful. I went through this with my student film when it won the Student Academy Award. I had such a great experience there, visiting the academy, the ceremony. So I have so much to be grateful to the academy for. So it kind of makes it a bit more. I'm a bit more at ease now the second time round, because I had such a great time last time. And yeah, just hope the Academy members watch the film. If they like it, they'll vote for it, and I can't control anything more other than that. So it's just great fun knowing they're watching it. That's an honor.
Yeah, that's the big goal, and the great thing this year, everybody has to watch the films before they can vote on them.
Mm.
So since, because I think you're probably one of three or four that I've interviewed that actually won a Student Academy Award.
Mm.
When you win that award, are you invited to join the Academy?
You're a part of. They have like a gold program, which is for emerging voices. So you're on a newsletter. You get invited to events, but it's kind. I guess it's like their junior group in a way. So you feel you're like a part of a fold, but you're not in the full blown academy. No, that you're not.
So not a full blown member yet.
No, one day,
Oh,
one day.
yeah, yeah. Oh, no, no, I get it. I get it. And I've always been curious because there's just been so many amazing young filmmakers that have the opportunity, that have won that award. So I've always kind of wondered, because becoming a member of the Academy is never a given.
No.
So it is a prestigious membership, so to speak, for those
Mm.
that actually get the official invite. But yeah, Ian, I really love this film After Dark, and I think it to me it stands out among a lot of these other films that are out there this year. There's just this different feel to it. Um, it's an original story. I love the fact that you just took a story that happened in your life and, created a story for all of us, for the
Mm.
audience
Mm.
to walk in your shoes, to be a part of this experience, uh, even, feeling a bit uneasy and wondering if it really happened to us, what would we do if we were in your shoes?
Mm.
So good stuff.
Thank you so much.
And ladies and gentlemen, the award-winning short film After Dark confronts the unsettling questions that arise when empathy collides with fear, prejudice, and survival instinct. Now, on his way home one night, Kirsten encounters a young woman in desperate need of help. Now, he agrees to accompany her to the train station, but as the night unfolds, he begins questioning both her story and himself. Now, through this tense and intimate encounter, After Dark explores the contradictions of human behavior, where compassion clashes with fear and kindness is tested by preconceptions. This film will get you thinking and actually shows us signs that we could be overlooking when someone reaches out to us for help. It all comes down to discernment and using wisdom. Even a good hearted person can be taken advantage of in these circumstances. So, next time a stranger comes up to you looking for help, you may want to calm down that adrenaline so you can focus and think and possibly ask the right questions. And Ian, thank you so much for sharing this film with me today, and much success to you on your Oscar journey.
Thank you for the excellent chat. What an outro. I have nothing more to add. Perfection.
Well, you're very welcome. And again, ladies and gentlemen, whenever you get the opportunity to see After Dark, you got to be like me. You've got to say, I love the ending, because a film like this needs to end that way. It continues the conversation long after you leave the theater, and that's what film is all about. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can catch all of the Bond on Cinema interviews at bondoncinema.com. Check out our Prime show, our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Audible, and more. And remember, you're either going to see me at the movies or from the red carpet.